Hello frog fans in cartoon form. So this packaging is kind of lame. It tells you what there's in the series and there's a secret chase. But this just says like Frog Planet Wave 2, but there's no date. An Amazon listing said it came out in March of 2024. And you can also find them on eBay and AliExpress. These are handmade, I think, resin polyurethane figures. So that means I don't think they make a lot. They can't be mass produced because they have to be cast by hand, painted by hand. So I've already noticed some are out of stock on some of the listings. So just keep that in mind. If you want to pick these up, you better do it relatively quick. Alright, so just want to show how they come packaged. The box is nice and big, and it's got this like computer-like quality foam. It's really dense foam. It doesn't crush so much. But the bag here is relatively thin, but I guess that's okay, right? It's the bag that just protects it from getting scratched, not from bumps. It's the foam that's protecting it from breaking. Okay, that's all I see in there. There's nothing under the foam. Yeah, so that's all there is. Just one label on the outside. Alright, so because these are rigid plastic, I am going to have to keep this packaging. So I will go over every one of these things at some point in time, but we're going to start off with this one here, Discophus antongili. I definitely have to be pronouncing that incorrect. And then this next one would be a Crusiohyla craspidopus. I'm mispronouncing that. So Discophus antongili is better known as a Madagascar tomato frog. So that means it's from Madagascar. It is a near endangered species, so they're trying to, some zoos and stuff are trying to breed them in captivity, but they don't really know much about them, their behavior and all that stuff, so it might prove difficult. All I know is they look like tomatoes, right? The females are larger. They grow up to 10.5 centimeters, weigh around 230 grams, and the smaller ones would be the males. They eat insects, and they're part of the frog family where they have a narrow mouth. Called the Microhylidae. I'm just guessing these pronunciations. If the real frog is 10.5 centimeters, this may be a male frog, because this one is 6.5 centimeters, and that happens to be what Wikipedia says the male is. Sorry if I lost focus. Alright, well, unfortunately, there's no text on the actual product itself, so I'm going to put a label on here later. But this is, a nice flat bottom, so it should display nicely, flush against a tabletop or something like that. So the only big concern are these, like, toes, right? If you drop this, those are going to break off. Same with possibly here. But the rest of the body seems relatively, solid. It is a heavy object. There's no hollowness. It's a solid chunk of polyurethane, I guess. And then you can see there are some lines here to help separate the paint. I guess it's just easier to hand paint stuff to have a groove separate the colors. Even here there's some grooves. Alright, so there's also some pink overspray or something, or maybe it's a dry brush or a paint wash. There is pink up here as well, so I'm not sure how they went about painting this thing. I get the impression that it's light pink is an airbrush, but that means they would have to mask all this off, and that sounds like it would be really time consuming to do. So the belly is definitely more of a matte finish. This red is also pretty matte finish. This is a square LED above us, but it's quite round because it's so matte finish, the texture of it and the paint. But the eye is definitely glossy. You can see it's almost a sharp rectangle, that LED above us. And that eye is well painted. It's got some sort of fading effect. It's obviously dark black for the pupil, but this yellow fades out to like a white almost over here. And then there's some black, I don't know what you would call that, or eyelids maybe. The nostril is really small, just a little dimple. Maybe that's the ear. And then, oh, okay, so that looks a little weird because that's a magnet. Yeah, that could have been embedded better. But I think the intention is for this accessory here, which also has a magnet. I guess this might be maybe figure 5 in the collection. And it looks like the top of a tomato. And the stem area, leaf area of a tomato. And so it should be nice and easy for it to locate itself. So that's really cool. It definitely looks like a tomato. I mean, especially from here, right? If you ignore the eyes, it looks like it could be a tomato. Yeah. Alright, so I think possibly what we see here, this line, is where maybe the mold parted. Yeah, they like maybe sanded it smoother. So it's handmade, and I think that's why they're expensive for what you're getting. So Cruzio hyla crespedipus is also known as the fringed tree frog, and so it lives in the high lowland Amazon rainforest. So Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and maybe Bolivia as well. So these don't exactly look like the model, but this one definitely, I think they were going for that. And also this image over here. Yeah, we hit focus on the screen there. So yeah, I guess it does look like at least two of these things. Wikipedia says the males could grow up to 66 millimeters and the females up to 76 millimeters. I don't know. This is around 60 in that length. I'm not sure if they're measuring the length of these things, so I believe this could be like a male, or roughly life-size male size. Also, if you look at that, that's a hand holding that frog. So, and I guess they generally just live up in the trees, except for when they're going to breed. There's not much of an article on them on Wikipedia, so let's continue on. I'm going to hold this low to the table because if I drop it, it's going to break. Again, rigid plastic here. So this is a far more colorful paint scheme. It's like a lime green up top, and then it comes down to a darker green teal kind of color on the side, and then on the arms you get some orange and brownish. I guess it's orange in there. So again, it has ridges to help separate the paint, probably hand painted. I mean, this is very, very time consuming to make. And then the eyes are glossy again, whereas the body is relatively matte finish. This eye has like a little, I don't know, chunk coming out of it. It's literally a molded ring. So perhaps it's supposed to be a reflection or something like that. But weird that they wouldn't just paint more of this black and have that ring white. But a little yellow over here as well. This eye, yeah, same thing. I guess that's the intention. Not sure why they would even bother with that. Well, anyways, the nostrils here, they have a little depth to them, so they look a little dark, but I don't think there's any extra paint in there. The mouth is just closed. Little groove there looks okay. This area here, oh, what's that? Oh, thankfully that came off. I think maybe, well, maybe the arms are separate pieces. I'm not sure, but this looks like it's still part of the body. There is a line here, but I guess they didn't paint it by hand. It's just airbrushed, it looks like. So it looks like they maybe painted this lime green first, then the airbrushed the darker green over it, and then I don't know if these are masked off or painted. You'll notice these rectangular shapes here. That's going to go into the base, and there's literally a metal rod to help locate it as well. And then this has these webbed feet and really round fingertips. It's quite interesting. What is this? I think this is figure 8. It says number 8. It's very, very heavy again for its size. It's a solid chunk of plastic. So yeah, this again is solid, and unfortunately, again, only the number 8 is written. It doesn't tell you what the frog is. I really wish it just maybe somehow wrote the text into these, even if it's written by hand. So yeah, you have the corresponding holes here, and also corresponding little dimples for the arms and the little balls on the feet. I gotta say, this is a pretty well done branch. It's well detailed. So this one, the peg hole's over here, and let's see. So that does work, but I think it would be advisable to actually put some poster putty in there, so there's no way that you could pick this up and have it fall out. Although it is kind of trapped in there because of the hand curvature. But I'm going to put putty in there anyways. So I have a frog collection growing apparently. So the first wave of Frog Planet came out in 2022, I believe, and this is the waxed white monkey frog. This one has a magnetic worm, which is kind of neat. So it fits in, it's like the same general size. Here's a black rain frog. This is the funniest of them all, I think. The tomato frog's a close second, though, I would say. So they're all solid chunks of resin, and they're also probably really delicate. There's another brand called Animal Heavenly Body. This is from the 13th wave, and this is the Suriname horned frog. So you'll see it's actually more realistic looking. And this is the common rain frog from that same brand. So the Animal Heavenly Bodies are more realistic looking, it seems. These are clearly cartoon versions of frogs. Although still, I mean, that did look like the photographs. I suppose, well, that definitely looks like a cartoon, but all in all, I would say they can all fit together. Both brands can work together in the same display. So, even with the Animal Heavenly Bodies, that's nice. So that's reassuring, meaning I'm going to collect all of these, at least this whole second set. I'm not sure if I'm going to collect the whole first set. I just like the designs of the second set more. So if you like this sort of stuff, stay tuned and we'll see you then. Over and out.